I'm just gonna talk about my life. So I wanna definitely start with my because I am talking as a senior who's leaving youth group. I definitely want to start with kind of like my expectations and me as a person before I entered high school, and what I expected of high school, and then kind of like where I'm at now and how I've come to this place in my faith. And so so before entering ninth grade, I was really excited because I was starting at a new school. I was investing in something that was different than a lot of the kids around me. I was pursuing arts instead of a normal high school experience. So I was giving up a lot of football games. I was giving up a lot of school dances by attending an art school. And in turn, I was kind of taking a chance and kind of taking a leap of faith, thinking that that was where God might have been calling me to go. And I think I was right. I think definitely God used my high school experience to grow me. But along the way, I definitely had my moments of losing my losing parts of my faith and losing the image of myself that God had for me, rather than or just losing like what I knew, what God wanted me to be, or like instead of like what I wanted, in place of what I wanted to. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna like leave that. But I was very much struggling with comparison and individuality, and I think a lot of people struggle with that in high school. I compared myself to people way more than I realized and did anything to differentiate myself. And I remember one night, I think it was during my sophomore year of high school, I was reading the word and I stumbled upon the verse. It's from Psalm 119, verse 9. How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word. And other translations will mention, how can a young person be righteous? And it's by living in accordance to your laws. And something very valuable that I have learned about my faith is that my biggest superpower as a Christian is leaning into God's strength when I am weak. And ultimately that comes down to a core of being humble. And I have learned more than anything that humility is the greatest thing that we can be as Christians. It allows us to love. It allows us to forgive. It allows us to work hard. It allows us to try when we want to give up. And every time that I compared myself, every time that I felt like my individuality was lost, I would turn to other things to validate me, whether that be friends or music or even like relationships. And that just took me down a hole, and it led me farther away from God than I wanted to ever be. But in trusting that God was always there for me when I didn't deserve, I've eventually used this senior year to kind of come back to where God wanted me to be. Through searching for colleges, God revealed to me what his purpose was for me. And it ended up being something that I never thought I would ever pursue. If you have grown up at Pathway, you've seen me do worship since 4th grade, which is a really long time to do something. And I think normally when people do something for that long, they either totally do it in college or they totally don't. And I thought I was totally not gonna, but God said, you're gonna. And so I am. And God is so merciful to us when we feel like we're lost and broken and unworthy. And the only way that I could allow God to bless me in that way was by being humble and being like, you know what, I don't deserve this, but this is what you want from me. I don't feel like I deserve a plan from you for me, but you have one, and I'm going to be humble and take it because I recognize that I shouldn't have it, but it's there. And so if I had advice for you, I would say be humble and do not give up. Pursue everything. James made a great PowerPoint presentation. I'm so sorry that I don't have one to follow. Like, I should have at least had like a music video like that was instructional, you know, like if he had a calculus lesson, I could have done something like a little bit more tailored to my style, but I didn't, and I'm just talking and I feel really boring, but I really want to press that to you, that humility will allow you to let God take you farther than you ever could have gone on your own. So especially in high school, girls, when you compare yourself to other girls for whatever reason, remember it is not ever about anything that you're comparing between you and others. Like, just be humble and like remember that like God loves you, all of your confidence, all of your strength, all of your beauty, all of your talent, all of your gifts, they come from the Lord alone. And that goes to all guys too. Like, God has purposes and has plans, and be humble enough to accept and be willing enough to follow that call. So that would be my advice and my word for all of you as a senior who's graduating.